TJ Houshmandzadeh are back. Time now for a big story. All right, let's move to Cleveland, where Baker Mayfield and the Browns came up just short against the Rams last night, blowing 4 chances to tie the game from inside the 5-yard line. It was another lousy game for Baker Mayfield, who completed just half of his passes for under 200 yards. But Coach Freddie Kitchens might have had an even worse night with some mind-boggling play calls, including a draw on 4th and 9. After the game, Baker took the loss in stride.
Don't hit the panic button. I think we realize how close we are, but that's the frustrating part, is we can't have continued mistakes. You know, the same thing over and over again. We have to do our job and have to hit the reset button, look at the film, learn from it.
Don't blame any of our players. Don't blame any of our other coaches. Just blame me, because I can take it, all right? So, you know, just blame me. Go write your article and say I messed the game up. Go write your article and say it's my fault the thing's not looking like it did last year, because it is.
I agree with Freddie Kitchens. I blame Freddie Kitchens, but who should they be more concerned about, Baker Mayfield or Freddie Kitchens?
I think it's Baker Mayfield, and it's close. Look, they both are fighting for this position of who's going to take the lion's share of the blame, but Junior Seau, late great Hall of Famer, my boy, my teammate, rest in peace, used to always play by the mantra, ball before call. That means, even in the dictionaries, ball before call. So no matter what they call, your objective of any call is to ball, is to make that play happen. We saw it even from rookies who just have that instinct. A Daniel Jones, they come out in a situation, everybody running man, he's like, why isn't no one guarding me? I just run up the middle and win the ball game. There are certain moments when you're supposed to take over. When you look at Baker Mayfield by the numbers, 3 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, passer rating down 20 from last year. And then you're looking at it, there's no mojo. That was a lot of talk coming into the season and no mojo into this season. 2 games that they've lost, been at home, got spanked week 1. So it gets to a certain point. Yeah, coaches always make a questionable play call, but it's on us. The onus is on us to go out there and make something happen.
Oh, it's 100% all on Freddie Kitchens. You only can run what's called. Like, Nick Chubb was averaging over 4 yards a carry. You get the ball first and go on a 4-yard line, and
3 timeouts.
And you pass every play. 4. Come on, run the ball. If you put Baker in favorable positions, he'll give you favorable results. You say, oh, it's completion percentage, the picks or whatnot. It's the play calls. It's what Freddie Kitchens is doing that's putting him in a predicament. He's putting him in a position where he can't be successful. It's pure. And Freddie Kitchens, like his whole little press conference, it was like he was upset, blame me, it's 100% your fault, and he should fix it, period.
Okay, why can't they both get blamed here? But I guess if you want to give more, I would probably go with the coach, because I think it's a cultural problem going on out there in Cleveland right now. I think they bought into that hype. I bought into that hype. First game of the season, I was spouting off like, oh, this team is going to the playoffs. They got the incredible roster, and they do. They have talented players on that team, offensively and defensively. They should all be playing a lot better than what's going on out there. But Freddie Kitchens, it starts at the top. He's the one who's making the calls. He's the one setting the culture in the locker room. He needs to tell them to stop making all those commercials. I see Baker Mayfield on every other commercial. I'm not saying it's bad, but let's earn that first. You had 1 good year. Go out there and play the way he can, because we know he can play better. He is not playing like he did last year, and he's got better receivers. I don't understand it right now. I think he's got to get back to the drawing board, like he said. Don't push panic yet, and I agree with you, Baker. But at the same time, you got to start doing some soul searching and get better. And go talk to Freddie. Go have a one-on-one and say, why didn't you trust me in this situation? I think right now there's trust issues, culture issues. There's a lot of stuff going on in Cleveland right now.
Look, I think that I'm going to take it up another level and blame the executives, the ownership of the Cleveland Browns. You have a very young quarterback. You add OBJ to this situation in Cleveland, and then you get into your coaching search. Greg Williams has just been your head coach and won you a bunch of games, and you let Baker Mayfield basically talk you in, hey, my boy Freddie over here, little chubby dude with unshaven, looks like, you know, he's been out to drink and hung over all night. Let's make him the head coach. And that's what you got here. You got total chaos. They're jumping off sides. The whole thing looked raggedy from start to finish from them. Myles Garrett, another talented player, I think been leading the league in penalties or whatever. This looks like chaos, and it starts way up. They picked the wrong guy to be the head coach. Should have left him there as the offensive coordinator. You got this whole young offense that you're trying to build around. And again, let's go over to the Los Angeles Rams, who maybe they got caught up in, hey, they picked an inexperienced head coach and he worked. They also gave him Wade Phillips, one of the most experienced coaches in all of football, to run one half of the team. I just think Freddie Kitchens is in over his head. Baker Mayfield certainly has some problems. Look, I'm not a fan of short quarterbacks, and that includes, and again, Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer, great player. Russell Wilson's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but small quarterbacks are not my thing. They bail out of the pocket instead of stepping up in the pocket. They got to be coached out of it.
Got to be able to see, have a throw lane.
And so you bail out instead of stepping up. And again, you got to be coached out of it. And Russell Wilson and Drew Brees have learned that. Baker Mayfield hasn't.
Watching that game closely, we all saw the same thing, especially from a defensive mindset. He has some simple tendencies. Happy feet, bail right, and is going to launch it. And so you all of a sudden start to call for those same moments because it doesn't take much to get him into his tendencies. You talk about the first and goal, basically, on 4 straight passes. Is it the coach or is it you when you throw the game-ending interception, but before that, incompletion, pass batted down, and a pass too high? If you throw it where it's supposed to go, is it a bad call? The results tell us it's a bad call, but the results tell me, because I've been in situations like that before, first game they had 20 penalties, 18 because 2 were called back. That's on coach. When I jump off sides, everyone says it's a discipline, it's a culture issue. You could blame coach or you could blame me because I am not doing the right things. And I don't think with a guy with 57% in completion percentage is doing the right things. No matter what you give him right now, it's not turning into success, in part because I don't think he has his mojo.
It's not bad in Cleveland. All is not lost. Everybody expected them to lose to the Rams. They lose to the Rams in a game that they probably could have won, and it's, oh, my God, the sky's falling. I'm not going to take it that far. Freddie Kitchens is to blame. The Rams turn the ball over 3 times. You're playing at home. You have a chance to win the game in a game that everybody expects you to lose anyway. And so that's probably the biggest problem. Everybody expects you to lose. You could at least force overtime. They weren't able to do that, and play calling played a big part in that.
I look at emotional coaches, and Freddie looked a little emotional. I'm not saying he was over emotional.
Very.
And I look at Bill Belichick. You can go back there. And you talk about culture. That would never happen in New England. You're not jumping off sides 18. You're not getting 18 penalties. It just doesn't happen. And we've talked to people that have played for that team because it's not allowed. It's a culture thing there. So I do think culture does matter. And I think it starts with the head coach. I've had a lot of coaches in Kansas City. And when you get the emotional ones, the team plays that way. And they're overly aggressive sometime on the defensive side of the ball. You see Myles Garrett, the way he's getting penalties right now, that's a reflection of their defensive coordinator. That's how he coaches. Yeah. I'm just saying the discipline has to come from the top, and that will affect the play of the players. I'm
going to make another distinction between Freddie Kitchens and Sean McVay. Sean McVay was brought to Los Angeles to fix Jared Goff. Freddie Kitchens got the job because Baker said, hey, this is my guy. There's a power imbalance. Baker Mayfield's a young quarterback that needs to be challenged. Instead, he's working with his drinking buddy. And again, I'm not saying they drink together. I'm just saying they're too close. The connection there, Baker played a part in him getting the job. Jared Goff didn't have a damn thing to do with Sean McVay getting the job. Sean McVay gets to tell him exactly what to do all the way up until they turn that microphone off in his helmet. There's a power.
But that's one way to headline it. The other way is, Baker, you weren't playing that well before Freddie started calling plays, and then you played insanely well. We're going to just keep rolling with that. Whether you guys...
He wasn't playing at all.
Yeah. So it's like, can't you go with that narrative, which is like...
Yeah, you could. As offensive coordinator, I would have kept rolling the dice with him as offensive coordinator. Coming up, forget all the doubters. The Daniel Jones era just started with a bang. Boom. Has the Giants rookie already proven he's better than the...
I tweeted out that the Ravens would beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I was a little wrong on that. But anyway, Lamar Jackson didn't have his best yards with no passing touchdowns. Lamar's stats look a little different against winning teams with his completion percentage, passing yards per attempt, and passer rating all dropping in comparison to playing against all other teams. I want to ask you guys, do you think these numbers say anything about Lamar?
It says a little bit, but I'm saying this and I mean it. I was impressed with Lamar yesterday. I expected Lamar to turn the ball over a couple times, and I thought that would be the difference in the game. I thought the moment, and I said this earlier, was a little bit too big. He was anxious. I think this strategy, we're going to go in here and outscore Patrick Mahomes, put a little pressure on him. and his deep ball was off because he put a little too much pressure on himself, anxiety. But I had no problem with the way Lamar played. I think he'll be better moving on the rest of the season.
Yeah, no problem. These numbers don't mean too much to me. One, he's only lost 2 regular season games, and that was by 3 and 5 points in the most difficult stadium to play in on the road, Arrowhead. So no slight there. 2, when you play lesser opponents, you're supposed to play better. What's the old adage? You're supposed to beat the team.
Pad your stats.
You know, supposed to beat the team. You know when I had the fewest sacks? When I had Walter Jones, Jonathan Ogden, Orlando Pace. Those were a little different days when I had the pork chops. So I'm not reading too much into it.
Yeah, I don't read into it either. Is when you play good teams, you're not going to play as well as when you play bad teams. That's what it is. And when you play the bad teams, just try to pad your stats because you know when you play the good team, it's going to drop. Simple.
Can we get a Hall of Fame perspective? You buying this?
You know, I think it goes both ways. My best games have come out against my best competition, against New England Patriots. Those
That's
are my
why
2 best
you're in the
games
Hall
in
of
history.
Fame.
I'm about to say, he just
And
shut
they were
up.
Pro Bowlers.
No, I'm just telling you. When I look at
They
it,
were Pro Bowlers. You're
Hey,
in the
man,
Hall of
wait a
Fame.
minute. Hall of Good. We in the Hall of Good over here.
but also my worst game has come against the New England Patriots when Bill Belichick said, "Hey, you're not going to do anything today. I had 1 catch for 13 yards." So it can go both ways. But Lamar, he's on his way.
Yeah.
He's on his way. The only thing that concerns me about him is that he's running the ball too much, taking those shots. I don't know how long you can last. Maybe about 2-3 years. But yeah, he's on his way. He's good.
All right, stick around. Later in the show, we'll give you our latest approval ratings for Patrick Mahomes. And Uncle Jimmy will tell us what he thinks of the Chiefs quarterback. And jump on Twitter right now to vote on what you think Mahomes' approval rating should be. We'll reveal the results later in the show. Coming up, Baker Mayfield.